Hurricane Lee remains a powerful Category 4 storm, but where does it go next? I'll have that answer coming up in your Viper 6 forecast.
Right now, News Channel 6 at 4, a weekend of arts and crafts, the annual Aikens Macon. We have a preview.
Plus, the push for better health care for women, what one local doctor is proposing.
And luxury apartments coming to a local community. We're going to cover that groundbreaking for you and tell you all about the units as your News at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Dean.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins in Jefferson County, where one man is dead after an officer-involved shooting. It happened yesterday at a home on South Fleming Street in Rennes. Police were there to arrest 35-year-old Zion Dunn on felony charges when a struggle began. He was shot by a deputy and taken to the hospital where he died. No police officers were hurt. The GBI is leading this investigation.
4 people in jail in North Augusta after a drug bust. It happened Wednesday morning after officers searched a home on Brookview Court in the Rapids neighborhood. Christopher Blitchington, Stephen Burnett, Tara Smith, and Sarah Loper all taken into custody on drug charges. No other details have been released.
It is time now for a first check of our forecast. What a beautiful start to the afternoon, but you know it is summer and it doesn't always stay that way.
Meteorologist Miller Hyatt joining us now for a look at our weekend temperatures.
Local women's doctors are speaking out about the need for more menopause training in residency programs. Hannah Latier joins us now to tell us what they're doing about it.
An assessment of OBGYN programs across the U.S. shows that more training is needed to give women going through menopause the best care possible. Women make up more than half of the U.S. population, and menopause will affect each one of them differently. Dr. Jennifer Allen, the director of the OBGYN residency program at Wellstar MCG Health, is a certified menopause practitioner with the North American Menopause Society, one of only 4 in the CSRA. While she was going through school, she noticed there was very little curriculum that focused on menopausal health. That led her to establish a menopause clinic a few years ago at the college. And now she is working with the International Menopause Society to create an in-depth menopause curriculum for residency programs.
To have the knowledge of all of the different aspects of menopause as a trainee, getting out and then becoming a faculty member who's going to get asked these questions, whether you're primary care, endocrinology, OBGYN, you're going to get asked these questions. And that's why it's so important that the topics are covered, not just in residency training, but as early as medical school.
Dr. Allen says they're working toward getting a module focused on menopause training in place for residency programs nationwide in the next 2 years. Jenny?
All right, Hannah, thanks so much. This morning, Payne College held a convocation ceremony to kick off the fall semester. Payne President Dr. Cheryl Evans-Jones says enrollment is up 9% compared to last year. Announcements at the event included new job positions, scholarships, grants, donations, and fundraising opportunities. Among those was a $250,000 grant from Bank of America and fundraising campaign with the Dr. Mac Bowman Horizon Foundation. It's called 20 for Payne. Car decals will be sold for $20 to help renovate the school's dormitories.
To be part of this effort, 20 for Payne, as a directed fundraiser specifically for efforts here on campus to make things better for the students and for all concerned.
The grant that we've received will help us with the expenses related to EAB as a part of that transformation plan. So we're very excited and appreciative to Bank of America for their continuing support of Payne College.
You can start buying those Payne College car decals today on the Dr. Mac Bowman Horizon Foundation's website.
Right now in Aiken, more than 200 arts and crafts vendors are lining the streets of downtown. The 47th annual Aikens Macon is now underway. The festival is along Park Avenue between Union and Chesterfield Streets. At the 2-day event, you can buy everything from sculptures and toys to woodwork and hand-woven seagrass baskets.
What I like about it, it's all artisans. When you go through it, everything's handmade. So that's pretty unique. And from what I've been told, it's like the 4th or 5th largest craft show in the Southeast, so it's pretty impressive.
You've got local and you do have out of towners and stuff. It just adds a lot of variety to what you can choose from when you're coming down here to Aikens Macon. It's been really good.
There are several streets closed, including Newberry, York, Fairfield, and Union. Aikens Macon running today until 6 p.m. Tomorrow, 9 to 5, rain or shine. The Aiken County Animal Shelter hosting a special adoption event this weekend. It's called Aiken's Barkin'. The shelter is full. It's over capacity. And so tomorrow they're going to waive all dog adoption fees 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the shelter on Wire Road. And to help you feed your new furry friend tomorrow, there's going to be a pet food drive-through. It's from 9 until 10:30 at the Aiken Animal Shelter on Wire Road. You have to be a resident of Aiken County. There will soon be more places to live in Warrenville. This morning, a groundbreaking for the Warren Mill Lofts. The historic textile mill will be turned into a luxury apartment complex. It's located on Trestle Pass. It'll include more than 200 apartment homes, a swimming pool, workspaces, fitness center, and areas for social gatherings.
This part of the county, GBW, is frequently, I think, a lot of folks here believe they're overlooked for what's going on in the county. When we see a nearly $60 million investment going on, you have to realize this is probably the greatest investment in the 421 corridor.
Move-ins are expected in fall of 2024.
You can help people in need in our area with vital supplies through our latest Giving Your Best donation drive. We're collecting items for ACTS, area churches coming together. If you can, please drop off powdered baby formula, baby wipes, laundry detergent, and other hygiene products. You can bring your donations here to Television Park or to any Security Federal Bank in the CSRA.
New at 4, Augusta University President Dr. Brooks Keel has announced he will retire next summer right after this academic year. Keel stepping down after more than 14 years in the University of Georgia system. He's been the president of AU since July of 2015. During Keel's presidency, more than 18,000 students have graduated from Augusta University. The Georgia Cyber Innovation and Training Center opened during Keel's time here. A replacement has not been named. We will keep you posted.
Coming up, honoring one of their own.
Yeah, family and friends paying tribute to the life of fellow student Sivan Small. We'll cover that for you in just a moment.
Players and coaches at Richmond Academy are dedicating the season to Sivan Small, the teenager drowned at the lake on Monday.
Last night, the ARC Musketeers football team honored their teammate. Nikita Dennis has the story.
It's an emotional game for the ARC football team as the players honor the life of Savon Small.
For one, just knowing that our connection is strong. Whether it's in the physical, the spiritual, whatever it is, connection is connection. So we want to make sure that Savon understands that though he's gone from us in the flesh, he still dwells with us in the spirit for sure. So that's the biggest part after the release.
As the number 43 sits at the end zone, family, friends, and teammates release purple and gold balloons during Thursday's JV game to honor Savon Small. Small was a 16-year-old football player for ARC who lost his life Monday swimming in the lake at Point West Army Resort. The team's head coach says he loved the sport.
Inquisitive. Savon was a kid that I always wanted to know. He wanted to be coached. He wanted to be criticized constructively. He wasn't a guy that needed the pats on the back. He wanted to know how I get better.
He was not only a team player, but a friend.
Players and coaches at Richmond Academy are dedicating the season to Sivan Small, the teenager drowned at the lake on Monday.
Last night, the ARC Musketeers football team honored their teammate. Nikita Dennis has the story.
It's an emotional game for the ARC football team as the players honor the life of Savon Small.
For one, just knowing that our connection is strong. Whether it's in the physical, the spiritual, whatever it is, connection is connection. So we want to make sure that Savon understands that though he's gone from us in the flesh, he still dwells with us in the spirit for sure. So that's the biggest part after the release.
As the number 43 sits at the end zone, family, friends, and teammates release purple and gold balloons during Thursday's JV game to honor Savon Small. Small was a 16-year-old football player for ARC who lost his life Monday swimming in the lake at Point West Army Resort. The team's head coach says he loved the sport.
Inquisitive. Savon was a kid that I always wanted to know. He wanted to be coached. He wanted to be criticized constructively. He wasn't a guy that needed the pats on the back. He wanted to know how I get better.
He was not only a team player, but a friend to many.
One thing I think he did was take some guys that might have been struggling to find some social ground, especially as a freshman early on, and he kind of connected with those guys.
And although it may take some time for the team to get over the loss of number 43, Small will be remembered forever.
Tonight, the ARC varsity team is going to East Laurens down in Dublin, Georgia to play the Falcons. East Laurens also lost a teammate this week.
Both teams will wear patches to honor those players who died. There will also be a moment of silence before kickoff at 7:30. We'll be right back.
I'm attorney Jamie.
But then where does it go after that is a question, because we have high pressure to our east and we also have a trough to the west, and wherever this sets up is going to be churning that storm towards the north. So we'll be watching closely. Margot continues to churn in the eastern Atlantic, and this is going to push out to sea. So we'll be watching this very closely for you going forward. So there's Margot here for you. So as we look at your 10-day forecast, we're seeing a nice drying period Monday and Tuesday before more showers and storms for the end of the next week. Back to you.
Thank you. Risks from heavy rain and flooding run beyond just damage to your home.
Yeah, all that water can carry potential health concerns, as Ginger Z reports.
We saw it in Vermont, parts of New York. All this summer, we had some extreme rainfall, and during that, you can get flooding, which then leads to water damage and an increasing risk of mold exposure. There's a new Climate Central report that demonstrates as climate changes and we get more intense storms, there is more of a mold risk. Rising sea levels and increasing potential for flooding in places all across the country also add to that. And exposure to mold can have a variety of health impacts.
Generally, within 2 days, you start growing mold in your home. And mold, produces spores, and people inhale those spores, and people could have health effects from that. Most commonly are things like, upper respiratory irritation, your nose and your throat burns.
People with allergies or chronic respiratory diseases like asthma might have an increased sensitivity or risk related to mold exposure. To avoid mold after a storm or a flood, experts say that it's important to get your home dried out as quickly as possible.
Typically that involves removing a large amount of things like carpets and furnishings that might soak up water. A lot of times that involves removing at least a portion of the drywall that has soaked up water.
Van Dyke says that storms are the most frequent cause of water damage. Cleaning your gutters and making sure that water slopes away from your home can help keep it safe. With this Climate Minute, I'm Ginger Z.
Coming up, below the surface of the ocean.
What scientists are planning and when it will open.
It just keeps going.
We are getting a glimpse of a new underwater base that will be built more than 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. Scientists from Deep Research Labs have unveiled plans for the base, which is off the coast of Wales. It's set to open in 2027.
The permanent base, called Sentinel, will house scientists for 28 days at a time and provide access to the deep zone, where 90% of marine life is thought to be found. There's a lot more coverage you can count on coming up at 4:30.
Including South Carolina Senator Lindsey.
Be a powerful Category 4 storm, but will it impact the United States? I'll have the answer coming up in your Viper 6 forecast.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 6, the full report from the special grand jury investigating the 2020 election in Georgia has been released. A look at the other lawmakers named in it.
Plus, a new luxury apartment community is coming to Warrenville. We'll take you to today's groundbreaking ceremony.
I'm George Escalade, Aikens Macon. They're shaking. Out there somewhere, your news at 6 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brad Means.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us.
Coverage you can count on begins with new information from a grand jury report in Georgia. That grand jury recommending charges for South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, among others, in connection to the 2020 election. Taylor Farmer spoke with Senator Graham today.
The full report was released today outlining charging recommendations for involvement in suspected election interference. 7 News spoke to Senator Graham in Westminster today at a luncheon. He addressed the grand jury report, saying as a current U.S. Senator and chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, he did his job when he voted to certify the election in all states, including Georgia. Senator Graham says he did not find evidence of mass voter fraud, but did have concerns about the mail-in ballot systems. Senator Graham told us he fears the legal system in our country is being used as a political tool. Graham testified in front of the special grand jury in November of 2022. He told us it lasted a couple of hours and says he told the truth as he knew it to be.
United States Senator, you owe it to your constituents to be able to explain yourself in one of the most high-profile elections maybe in U.S. history. So I feel comfortable with my vote to certify the election. I feel comfortable with the questions I ask, and at the end of the day, I did my job. And today that becomes criminalized is very bad for the country.
This is the same grand jury that indicted former President Donald Trump and 18 others. All pleaded not guilty.
The charges were also recommended against former Georgia U.S. Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, charges, of course, that were not pursued.
Augusta University President Dr. Brooks Keel has announced he will retire next summer following this academic year. Keel will retire after more than 14 years in the University of Georgia system. He's been president of Augusta University since July of 2015. During Keel's presidency, more than 18,000 students have graduated from Augusta University. The Georgia Cyber Innovation and Training Center opened during his time there. A replacement for Keel has not been named.
It is time now for a quick check of the weather with
Jenny.
Miller, thank you. Soon there will be more places to live in Warrenville. This morning, a groundbreaking was held for the Warren Mill Lofts. The historic textile mill will be turned into a luxury apartment complex. It's located on Trestle Pass. It will include more than 200 apartment homes, a pool, workspaces, fitness center, and spaces for social gatherings.
I just hope this is a catalyst for what else is going to happen in Macon County with perhaps some of the other historical buildings we have around this area. Hopefully this starts the whole trend of renovating buildings and making them, apartments, condos, and businesses. So I think this is fantastic.
Move-ins are expected in the fall of 2024.
Payne College holding a convocation ceremony this morning to kick off the fall semester. President Dr. Cheryl Evans-Jones says enrollment is up 9% over last year. Announcements at the event included new job positions, scholarships, grants, donations, and fundraising opportunities, including a $250,000 grant from Bank of America and an effort to raise money through the Dr. Mac Bowman Horizon Foundation. That one's called 20 for Payne. They're going to sell car decals for $20 a piece and raise money to renovate Payne's dormitories.
To be part of this effort, 20 for Payne, as a directed fundraiser specifically for efforts here on campus to make things better for the students and for all concerned.
The grant that we've received will help us with the expenses related to EAB as a part of that transformation plan. So we're very excited and appreciative to Bank of America for their continuing support of Payne College.
You can start buying those Payne College car decals today on the Dr. Mac Bowman Horizon Foundation's website.
Local women's doctors are speaking out about the need for more menopause training in residency programs. Hannah Latier joins us now to tell us what they're doing about it.
An assessment of OBGYN programs across the U.S. shows that more training is needed to give women going through menopause the best care possible. Women make up more than half of the U.S. population, and menopause will affect each one of them differently. Dr. Jennifer Allen, the director of the OBGYN residency program at Wellstar MCG Health, is a certified menopause practitioner with the North American Menopause Society, one of only 4 in the CSRA. While she was going through school, she noticed there was very little curriculum that focused on menopausal health. That led her to establish a menopause clinic a few years ago at the college. And now she is working with the International Menopause Society to create an in-depth menopause curriculum for residency programs.
It's something that impacts such a large group of people in our country, and they're undertreated, and so it's important that we train our residents to know how to answer their questions and help them feel better.
Dr. Allen says they're working toward getting a module focusing on menopause training in place for residency programs nationwide in the next 2 years. Brad?
And on the tier tonight. Coming up, the Aiken County Animal Shelter is hosting a special adoption event this weekend.
How you can help give a dog a forever home next. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up tonight on News Nation.
Tonight on News Nation, Geraldo, Cuomo, live tonight.
I really believe that you are the personification of television.
One-on-one with all the day's hottest headlines. Tonight on Cuomo. Is an impeachment actually...
By donating $12 bills, soap, and other essentials at a television park or at any Security Federal Bank location. WJBF News Channel 6, celebrating 70 wonderful years.
A great weekend to adopt a pet in Aiken. The Aiken County Animal Shelter is over capacity, and this weekend they're going to host an Aiken's Barkin' event to spread the word. A spokesperson says with the busy weekend in Aiken, they could use some help.
There are dogs everywhere right now. We just caught one in a trap this morning that somebody dumped outside the shelter. So it's a really terrible time, and we need a place to save these animals, and we can't do that if people don't come and adopt the ones that we have.
Aiken's Barkin', tomorrow, 11 in the morning till 4 at the animal shelter.
A group of local organizations coming together today for a day of service. WJBF and our Giving Your Best partners teamed up with ACTS, which stands for Area Churches Coming Together for a Food Distribution Day. The event was held at Oakwood Windsor Elementary School. We're also hosting a donation drive with ACTS. For a full list of items we need, you can go to our website, WJBF.com.
Miller Hyatt back with us now with the forecast.
Denmark Olar will be on the road at Allendale. Some other games we'll have for you. We'll have coverage from our big 4A schools from South Carolina on the road, South Aiken, North Augusta, and Aiken, plus Hepzibah at home against Tattnall County, and an undefeated Cross Creek team at number 10, Jenkins. Here at LL Willis Stadium.
Hey Brendan, yeah, the hot dogs are on the grill. You can hear the music playing, and there is so much excitement in this stadium as we inch closer to that 7:30 kickoff. Earlier in the week, I got a chance to talk to both Harlem's head coach, Mark Boyder, as well as Midland Valley's coach, Earl Chapman, about some of the keys to tonight's game, and they gave me very different answers. Harlem has had a tougher start to the season. They're coming off a tough loss from last week. Meanwhile, Midland Valley made history, starting their season 3-0 for the first time in 25 years. But the one thing that both coaches did tell me is that there is nothing like Friday nights, and they are so excited to get out here for tonight's matchup.
Just to play hard. Midland Valley's got a really good team, really well coached. It's going to be a tough game for us, especially on the road. We're excited about it. We need to play well. I think turnovers in the game will be key. We'll try to get some turnovers and try not to give it away too much. I think the biggest thing is playing a tough non-region opponent prepares us for our region schedule. And so playing tough teams and facing some adversity is only going to prepare us for the road ahead.
First, it starts with the mentality. It starts with the mind. I think that's something that we've really improved, is just our mental toughness. And I'm just looking forward to our team continuing to show people, how good we really are. I think now with us being on TV and being 3-0, it'll just give more people an opportunity to see kind of what buzz has been created over the last couple of weeks.
Midland Valley has never had a 4-0 start, so they're looking to make even more history tonight. Kickoff will be at 7:30, and we're looking forward to the game. Brendan, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Kira. We'll have that one and many more for you coming up on Football Friday night at 11:35 with Thursday Night Lights. Josie taking on Glen Hills in the pit, and Eagles fell behind early, 6-0. Tried to get some momentum back before the half, and got 6 on the board right there for the Eagles, but what enough. Glen Hills got the win 12-8. Again, much more coming up later tonight. We will be right back.
The town is getting down because it's Aiken Macon time.
It's a treat that can't be beat. Food and fun that's second to none. Out there somewhere with George Escala.
It's Aiken Macon, and A-Town is A-Live.
Shaking and baking? Downtown Aiken?
at Aiken's Macon.
Annabelle Greiner was at Aiken's Macon, came all the way from Germany. That is a trip long taken.
Yes, very long.
But it's worth the effort. Look at all that's going on at Aiken's Macon. There's a lot to take in.
There is, yeah, and the food's always good.
Oh yes, there's food, like meat on a stick. I heard you could get some bacon.
Yeah, it's shaken with bacon.
Food is fun at Aiken's Macon. They've got the funnels, and you know what that means.
Get a funnel cake? I'm gonna be caking? Hey!
Check out this booth at Aiken's Macon. It says all the products are natural, so you know what they're not doing.
We ain't faking and making, but we do sometimes shaking. I'm not baking yet.
So don't be forsaken and don't miss Aiken's Macon. But you better get here early because it's crowded at Aiken's Macon.
All the parking spots are taken. That's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. Trust me. At Aiken's Macon.
Aiken's Macon is like poetry. A rhyme every time. Out there somewhere in Aiken, George Escala, WJBF, News Channel 6.
More showers and storms for the weekend.